Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, I want to transition us from linear equations to quadratic equations. So the first thing I'd like to draw for you is the parent graph y equals x. Okay, and I'm going to draw this graph in blue. And y equals x has a slope of 1, so just we'll analyze what we would have to do to graph it. It starts here at the origin, and then the rise is 1 and the run is 1. So there's the next point, here's the next point here, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and so on. And then it goes backwards the same way. Do you understand what I'm doing here? I'm just putting these little dots in, and now I'll connect those dots to make the graph y equals x. Just want to make sure my line's going to pass through the origin. Right, so here's that graph that we're all familiar with, y equals x. Okay, so these values here are the x-axis values. These are the x values. These are the independent values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing on the left side. You got -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. Okay, and then we have our y values. This is our y-axis. This is our dependent axis, and this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then down -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. I suppose -7. All right. So now I want to make a table here. So this is for y equals x. I want to make a table of my x and y values, okay? So when x is 1, this is going to be the x values. Here's the y values. When x is 1, y is 1. When x is 2, y is 2. When x is 3, y is 3. What's happening to get from the x value to the y value? Well, x is being multiplied by 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. You can create more. 4 times 1 is 4. That's what's happening. Because y equals x. Y equals 1, a slope of 1, times whatever the x value is. Okay? So you get your y value by multiplying your x value by 1. And you see that here. We have x of 1. We multiply it by 1, we get 1. Here we have x of 5. We multiply it by 1, we get 5. That's how we're getting these numbers. Okay? So now I'd like to ask you a question. Let's make a graph y equals, or let's make a table y equals x times x. Okay, so my y value is found by multiplying my x value by itself. Well, here, let's see this one. So here are my y values for this graph here. I take my x and I multiply it by itself. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. All right? So if I go to my graph and I go to x equals 1, what I do is I multiply 1 times 1 and I get 1. So I'm going to plot this in red. Okay? Now I go to x equals 2 and I say, well, 2 times 2 is 4. So now I'm up here. And you can see I'll go off the page, won't you? So even 3 times 3, 9, I'm off my graph. Now we can do the same thing on the other side. So let's put in, so this would be x, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try x is -1. Well, -1 times -1 is +1. Right? So that's 1. How about -2 squared? -2 times -2 is +4. So now I'm up here. Now we should ask ourselves a question. How about 0? Okay, well, 0 squared, 0 times 0 is just 0. So one of the points on this new graph is right here. So if you draw a line passing through all these points, you kind of create this curve here. Okay. See that? Here we go. And now this is a new graph for us, and it looks like a hoop. And that's called a quadratic graph. Now, what I want to take you from is I want to take you from doing this, x times x, and I want you to think of it as y equals x squared. So that's the graph of y equals x squared. This is the graph y equals x squared. Okay? And this blue line was the graph y equals x. So do you see how they're interrelated? This is the graph where we take this blue graph, we take all of our x values and multiply by 1. In this graph, we take all of our x values and multiply by that same value. And that's how we generate this picture. So that is kind of an introduction in how we get into quadratic graphs and what a quadratic really means. It's the x value times itself. Okay, should have done it in red. So x times x is x squared. So that's why it says x squared. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you. Hope it was helpful.